What if I told you that people who can't be broken, they always run into the noise. They don't ever try to avoid the noise of fear, rejection, and worry. And as I've always said, I was always taught to know what space was all about and why it was important to have space. And one thing I've learned through all the silence of space and everything was more of a connection, excuse me guys. And what we're going to be talking about today is going to be one of 6 of my series on how I train myself, gentlemen, to think like someone who can actually learn how to lock into himself and actually silence the noise. And that's what we're going to be talking about. And I welcome all you guys here. And today what I'm going to do is I'm going to reveal the first reality mindset that you need to lock into this game that actually is going to separate people who crumble when they get around women under pressure from those who are going to get stronger. And I want to make sure that you guys watch until the end, because I'm going to test each and every one of you whether you can apply this information when you get around a woman as well. So we'll have a test at the end of all of this. And the thing is, we need to find out if you're just going to actually just fall back into who you used to be, or you're going to push forward and stay out of the mental patterns that keep most you guys overwhelmed when it comes to dating. You see, here's going to be the answer that changed everything for me when I was young, because as a student of the game, I had to learn so many things. I had to actually, the first thing I had to learn when I was locking into myself, one thought, one mind, one way, was something very important. I had to actually choose a side. I couldn't flip-flop between both things. I had to choose basically not a side, but I would say choose a reality. And sometimes we can live in 2 realities at the same time. For a lot of guys out there, sometimes they meet a woman and, they learn the 1, 2, 3 in the reality, but from the comfort of their own home, they think they got it until they get around the woman, and then they start to panic, they start to worry and everything else. And I just want you guys, and this is what this class is all about. The special class that I have for you guys is all about it. The pain that most of you guys have right now is a snapshot why many of you guys crumble and fall in confusion. And if you ever felt that you were torn, like as a man, when you see a woman for the first time, you're torn between wanting to be either the nice guy and be passive and wait, or the lion in you who is actually confident and goes for what he wants. It's kind of like night and day. And what happens is, when you're into these realities, what happens is you begin to overanalyze things, and every conversation, every text, every phone call, all these things, what happens is so many guys out here, they start to overanalyze things because they have no idea what it is they should be actually connected to in the realm of all these possibilities when it comes to the game. And if you ever have gone cold, or you got nervous or anything like that, and it's just hard for you to actually open up, thinking that you might either reveal too much or you might give too much too soon, I get it. I understand how you feel. So we have to really start asking ourselves the question, and that's why it's important to actually question ourselves. See, I want to make sure that every thought that I do and every aspect when I meet a woman is always going to be about me and how I think, how I feel, and how I actually move in a construct. And if you want a connection, okay, but sometimes the confusion of what's going on, sometimes it just makes you overthink until you lose momentum. And I've done that a lot of times, especially when I was young, when I was trying to talk to these older chicks that used to be me, thinking about the right move. I mean, when you're thrown into the deep side of the water, sometimes you have to kind of learn how to swim or learn how to drown. And it was the best thing for me, because the thing that I learned at the end of the day that actually unlocked me from who I actually was to what I've become was actually a really like connected thing for myself, that it wasn't about right moves or wrong moves. At the end of the day, it was realizing I didn't have to choose a side. I didn't have to actually pick a side, and that's what blew everything up for me. See, the thing is that when it went based off of the reality that you're in right now, it is always going to come down to actually a point of view, your point of view, okay? And sometimes, even though we have a strong point of view, there is always going to be this contradiction in ourselves, meaning that there's going to be something inside of us that's going to try to prevent us from growth and to being who we actually can be. And most guys, when it's the mixed signals, it's when I see her for the first time and I want to talk to her, but I just don't know what to say. Or, you say I want to talk to her, but you kind of contradict yourself by giving yourself reasons not to. And for many of you guys, this is the things that I have learned, that when you locked into this game, you're never going to crumble under the emotions of contradictions. I don't allow a contradiction to slow me down. What I like to do is take a contradiction and actually use it to benefit me. And I understand at the end of the day that the attraction and uncertainty can live in the same moment. It is okay for it. And let me explain why you should embrace uncertainty, because sometimes uncertainty can feel really like nerve-wracking, but the uncertainty that you have is going to be a little bit different than the uncertainty that you think you actually have. See, right now you're trying to learn you the best way you can, and as you begin to learn yourself, and as you begin to grow, and as you learn these interpretations of who you actually are as a man, what's going to happen is that it's going to start to give you what we call a very uncomfortable feeling. And that's where the contradiction is going to come in, is when you have the uncomfortable feeling of not knowing that, you know what, that feeling that you're getting is that we've got to stop labeling it the wrong way. And that's the biggest problem. We always are going to take what we feel and automatically assume that because it goes against what we want to do. For instance, I wanted to talk to somebody that was older than me. I wanted to do it, but the contradiction came in to try to make me feel like what I was doing, even though it was right to me and it felt right to me, that it was actually wrong, and that's not the truth. And that's why I've always say, never panic when things feel unclear, okay? This is where the most important moment of what we're doing right here in this class is staying centered. Because what people don't understand and what you don't understand is that you don't have to label everything that happens in your life as either good or bad, okay? You can just hold on to who you are to grow. And that is the difference between a man who gets knocked off his square by a contradiction and a man that accepts the contradiction not as a contradiction, but it is a bit of evolving and growing. It just feels so good when the contradiction comes, because at the end of the day, when I feel that contradiction, I know I'm doing something right. And that is the difference between the man that's going to get knocked off his square versus the guy that's going to be locked in and composed, because he recognizes that when I want to talk to that woman and I get a little bit nervous and I want to actually get to know her, and then I feel these things that are running through my head, I can actually look those things over and realize that these aren't bad things. These aren't things to beat myself up about. I should never have to beat myself up about something that I have to, as a man, I have to accept. We have to sit and we have to accept who we are. And see, the thing is sometimes when we have this way of thinking, when we have one side of us that wants to pull us and go towards the woman, and then there's a side that tells us stop, it like yanks us and it just puts us in this middle zone and everything. And most guys out here, I think one of the biggest problems for a lot of young men out there is that they're always trying to seek clarity over everything. And some things you just don't need clarity over. Some things you just need to be calm about and not worry about what happens. Because as long as you worry about what happens, whatever the thing you're worrying about is actually going to move your square, or actually move you guys off of your square. And I understand right now, for many guys out there, your mind is always going to look for clear answers because you're trying to make sure you interpret everything right and everything correctly, and there lies the problem. Most guys out there, they want not only clear answers, they want definitive solutions, and they have what we call everything is just simple black and white, right? They believe in their minds that if they can just figure it out, they'll feel in control. And it's crazy when they figure it out, they actually get in less control. When they figure it out, isn't it funny when you guys actually think you figured it out, but yet you gain more fear from it? Because what happens is that your mind is doing everything it can to pull you back to where you were at before. And I think most young men don't even realize what's going on until it's actually too late. And when a woman doesn't respond, sometimes they spiral themselves into a million questions, and this is the clarity that I'm talking about. What should I say next? What should I do next? Am I doing everything right versus am I doing everything wrong? How should I make the adjustments? Am I good enough for it? Did I do everything right? Do I have to text her right now? Do I have to double text her? So what we seem to start doing is, this is where I talk about that pull of one side of you has the clarity and thinks that you know what you're doing, but then the other side draws in the fear, the worry, and the anxiety and everything like that. And for many of you guys at this point, you just can't relax unless you see the outcome. But sometimes the outcome could be the thing that just makes you not want to do it at all. And that is a drug that sometimes is going to kill your momentum. And it's going to actually make you dependent on her response instead of your own alignment. And this is what we're all about. This is what this special class is about. It's about learning about alignment, because I want you to align in who you are. One thought, one mind, one way. And when you can align yourself, that means you've actually trained yourself to stay grounded and actually accept what most guys can't accept in this world today. And that is contradictory truths, okay? Yes, the truth of the matter is, in some guy's head, the truth will come in that, yes, you are scared right now. And yes, you should feel fear. And yes, you know you're not good enough. But even in the contradiction of that truth, it is a truth, not the truth. It is a truth that you have created in your mind. So yes, it is true in some aspects, but it's not actually the truth. It's just a story that you wrote about yourself when it comes to women, and that's the only problem that you're having. But here's the thing. See, the beautiful thing about this game is that I want you to feel the attraction that you have, but I also want you to feel the detachment from the feeling. That's what alignment is going to do for you, okay? This is where you guys actually start to lock in, where I can show her how to get with me, but I can also walk away from my fears. You can desire her body, but not get attached to a point where you feel that you're less than the woman. You can want to be with her in a sexual way, but not need her enough where if she says no, or I have a boyfriend, that it just doesn't bother you at all. And see, that is where the alignment comes in, because the second that you can actually hold on to those two realities, gentlemen, at once, okay, you are no longer going to need to make sense of everything, because you're actually living in those two realities. You're actually moving totally different from the construct of what you used to become. And most of you guys don't understand, this is why the game and alignment and being a student is so important, because it's at that point you start to actually realize that, you know what, I can be uncertain. It's cool. I can be uncertain of the outcome, but still move forward. And guys, that's what happened to me when I was young. I was so uncertain about the girls and the women that I would talk to who are older than me. But even in that uncertainty, I believed in me, and I kept moving forward. And guess what? Yes, she can reject me, but no, she's not me, okay? A woman can be distant and you can still be confident, all right? And you can even want to talk to her, text her, or just communicate with her, right? And still what? Not even need her. And that's what I'm saying, gentlemen. This is all about beginning the process of creating a new reality that you're in. The one that you're in right now is man-made, and we're trying to build you a brand new one off of this, because this shift is very important. And why this shift matters so much is because your reality right now is very messy. And right now you're just so predictable. And right now everything about you has a layer to it. I need her to like me. I need her to be friends with me. I need her to be attracted to me. I need her to love me, and all this other stuff. So what you guys are actually doing is that you're fighting a truth, and what you're doing is that you're actually wasting on things that are holding you down versus feelings that will move you forward. You know, trying to sit around and control uncertainty is like trying to catch smoke in your hands. You cannot do it. And the harder you grab, the faster it slips away. Have you noticed that? Whenever you have been around someone that was smoke, maybe as a child, you know, you see the smoke, you try to grab it and it moves away. Well, that's the same thing. But when you stop fighting it and you begin to see it clearly, okay? All right, you'll start to move smoother. You'll respond sharper, and you will lead stronger. And every woman is going to know what kind of man you are by how you think. When you think like this, especially when you're actually building your brand new reality. And this is the cool thing about it, because when she pulls away, when she goes quiet, or she says something that might confuse you in your old reality, what will happen is you will not allow that thing or whatever that is to actually bother you, because you're actually one thought, one mind, one way. And the connection that you have for yourself is so deep and so beautiful that your interpretation of everything is going to be different from the way that you're actually seeing yourself right now. And this is why your fears are going to actually collapse at that moment, because you'll realize I can operate in two realities and still be connected to myself. And this is where she's going to realize that, guess what? You're that guy. Because the guy that collapses under those two realities, like most guys actually do when they get around a woman, her emotional perfect pitch is always going to recognize weakness and a mask. But when you are in the two realities and you stay calm, you stay composed and everything, and non-reactive, she is going to actually feel your stability. And that's when her interest is going to deepen for you. That is when she is going to be more interested in you. And the thing that we have to do is we got to start to unlock your comfort, okay? Because this is going to be your advantage, okay? That you don't understand, that most people don't know who don't listen to this. 98% of the guys are going to fold, okay? when they just don't know where they stand with themselves, not with women, with themselves, okay? And that's why a lot of guys panic. That's why a lot of guys over-explain. And that's why they try to control something that was never meant to be controlled. It is not for me to control the woman. It is me to control myself, where she is going to give up the control. It is not for me to love the woman. It's me to love myself, where she falls in love with me. But when you're actually comfortable in who you are, and you're locked into what you are, the beautiful thing about the game is you begin to separate yourself from the pack of everybody. Everything actually begins to change, because it's at that point you're no longer part of the pack. You are the pack. You don't panic or anything anymore, and it's a different and very uncomfortable feeling. But in all of this, we want to feel uncomfortable, okay? It's always very important to be uncomfortable in that space, because your calm in the storm is going to be more magnetic than you know. And what's going to happen is that when the voices start to come in and tell you you can't do it, she's too pretty, you're not good enough, what you're going to do is you're going to allow silence in a world of chaos. And that's what's going to make you magnetic to the woman, because you're actually beginning to come to yourself. This centrifugal force is pulling you closer to you. And this is why we have to really soak all this stuff up and get all this down. Because if you can get this down, you are going to win. But in order to know where we're at, we've got to take this test, all right? Because here's the thing, and this is where I need to start changing and making my adjustments to you guys to help you out better. See, it's one thing to send you messages and everything, but it's another thing after I send you the message to put what I'm telling you to a test, to see actually where you stand in the information that you're getting. And until you understand where you're at in the information that you're getting, you're not going to know where you stand. And that's why that's why it's important that we start with this right here, this class right here, that we always leave it with a test, so you young men can understand something by giving you a scenario. You're out at a coffee shop. Okay, here's the scenario. You're at a coffee shop, you're at a bookstore, okay? Maybe you're just walking your dog at the park. Maybe you're doing something, all right? And you see a woman that catches your attention. And in that moment, gentlemen, I want you to just close your eyes right now. Now, don't listen to this if you're driving, but just think that you're in this moment, that this woman catches your attention, okay? And you feel that, oh my God, there's something that is bubbling up inside of you. And I want you to recognize and give a lock-in. I want you to notice that part of you wants to talk to her, but I also want you to notice what is popping up in your head, okay? And what I'm saying to you guys out here, the first thing you got to do is recognize the pull, and recognize that one part of you wants to talk to her. But what I want you guys to do is I want you guys to label what that is to you. Give it your own label, right? Recognize that you want to talk to her and give that a label. But then I want you to recognize the thing that is telling you in your head that you're not good enough. Give that a label as well. Because until you can actually recognize the label and label the two things, you're never going to have a genuine connection with yourself. You see, for me, it's not going after her. It's for me, how do I want to go after her? Versus for a lot of you guys right now, you want to go after her, but part of you feels that you're not good enough to go after her. And this is what is going to be to yourself a genuine conversation. See, gentlemen, and this is why the test is important, to see where you're at, but to also test yourself and see it. when you see her and you know you feel something, but you also feel this thing, if it's fear, if it's anxiety, or whatever it is. What I want you to actually do is have a genuine communication with both of those things in that moment. You are the thing that wants to talk to women, right? And then for the other one, you are the thing that is trying to prevent me from talking to that woman. Why am I saying this test is very important? Because if you think about it, okay, something I've always wanted to tell you guys, okay, think about this. And I brought it up a few times on the live shows. Right now, I'm about to say something, and you're not thinking about it right now. Once I say it, you're gonna start to think about it, all right? Ready? I want you to think about the socks that you have on your feet, or the shoes that you have on your feet. Wiggle your toes and feel your toes in your socks right now. Or what I want you to do is think about how heavy your shirt is on your back. Well, why am I saying that? Because this is also the saying of the genuine conversation. You see, right now, you knew how your shoes felt or the socks felt on your feet. But because you wasn't focusing your attention on the weight of how they feel in your feet, you didn't care. But gentlemen, this is what I'm saying in all of this. When you're having the conversation with yourself, whether it's telling yourself you want to go after her and recognizing the fear, it is at that moment you are actually what? Communicating with yourself. You are having the genuine communication. But it is a communication in just recognizing what's going on with you. And guess what? And knowing once you say what you need to say to yourself, you know you can just say, now that that's over with, now that I recognize that I want to talk to her, and now that I recognize that it's a very uncomfortable situation, I recognize those two things, just like I recognize the shoes on my feet or the shirt on my back. And now it's time for me to have the next part of my conversation or the end of the chapter and then go over to that woman. You see guys, in this test that you're doing right now, is that what you're testing is you're testing your fortitude and you're testing the lion inside of you. Yes, you want to talk to her, but yes, you're also recognizing how you feel about the situation. Whether you like it or you don't like it, you're just locked on the situation. And it is at that point that's what changed it, because what you have done is that you stop focusing on the two things that you've always done in your reality. Either a lot on I want to talk to her because she looks so good, or I'm not going to talk to her because I'm just too nervous. But now what you're doing is I'm going to focus on the fact that I want to talk to her, and I'm going to focus on the fact that there is an uncomfortable feeling, and I'm just going to introduce myself to both those two things, and I'm going to say, excuse me one moment, I'll be right back, and then you're going to go talk to her, okay? And see, once you do this is what is going to make the change, or the beginning of the processes that we're going to have for you. And what's going to happen is that a lot of guys, they won't be able to do this. They can't be able to do this because they're too busy looking for the answer versus accepting what is happening in the moment. And when most guys walk away defeated and they second guess everything they're saying, it's because they're not doing what you're doing right now in this exercise. This exercise is very important because the test is that now I'm going to go over to her, and now what happened next? But see, I don't know what happens next, because guys, you only know that, okay? But when you understand the two realities and introduce yourself to those realities, it's like you introduce yourself to both of them, you smile and you just keep on moving. And regardless if she says I have a boyfriend, if she says I'm not interested, Guess what, guys? Both of those things can be true at the same time. But what is also true that you have failed, just like you feeling your shoes and feeling your shirt, is that for the first time you have taken what is a real action step. Because the action step is not made off of influence, because the moment you recognize that you wanted to go after her because her influence, and the moment that you felt the fear because of her influence, what you did was you didn't allow that to play a role and stop you. You recognize those two things, and those two things, gentlemen, shockingly, was the influence. You were actually influenced by the woman, and you just didn't know. And because you were influenced by the woman at that moment, well, what you used to be, not who you are right now, but what you used to do is you used to be influenced by women. And that is just a sign of being influenced by a woman when you're thinking too much versus doing what it is you need to do. And that's the beautiful thing that you are learning in this test and this exercise that you're going to do, man. This exercise is going to help you out tremendously, because for the first time, you're going to start to see things that you've never seen before. And I like this. So it's just at the end of the day, I just want to teach you guys how to stand in all the pain and the anguish that your mind has created without losing who you are as a person, and actually standing on your square, one thought, one mind, one way. And the more you start to live this way, believe yourself, and move this way, you're going to actually, at the end of the day, begin to rewire your mind to actually stop chasing outcomes, and you're going to reach heights that you've never known before. And that's the one thing I always wanted to learn. I had to stop chasing outcomes, and I had to realize that I'm the outcome. And once I realized I was the outcome, everything in my life changed, because this isn't about avoiding contradictions or fears or thoughts or wanting to be with her. It's just for the first time you're going to be centered, because you're going to recognize the influencers. So the influencers are going to be the fear and the want of wanting to get between their legs. But those things are influence. They're going to influence you to feel the contradiction. But if you can recognize those two things and label those things and have an understanding of what they are, and then say, excuse me, after you introduce yourself, you can go on. So this is why you can actually feel nervous and act confident. This is why you can get rejected and still have value. And this is why you can care for a woman, but also detach and let yourself go and move on forward. And see, at all of this, guys, is once you start to master all this stuff, you're not going to crumble anymore. And I just want to say, man, these are lessons in the game that we want you to learn. But if you can learn these classes that I'm showing you right now, you're gonna get better with women. And all of this is what is going to make you one thought, one mind, one way, or the process of being becoming a student of the game or being a greater student. Because at the end of the day, you're not going to silence the noise that you have for yourself by actually avoiding it, okay? You're just going to master the person inside of the noise, and that's you. And once you can actually master you, then there's going to be nobody else that can actually tear you down when you do the exercises and that test that you're going to do for yourself. And that's what's actually going to separate you from everybody else, because for many guys, they're so busy chasing the answers, they're not chasing themselves. And this is why I want you to chase yourself, because the more you chase yourself, everything's going to change for you, okay? So I'm glad that y'all remember, take this test, okay? This is the first test. Make sure you have a notebook. Write this stuff down, because don't do it just one time. From this point on, when you are out there, no matter what it is you do or who you talk to, always remember, when I see her, yes, I'm going to want to sleep with her and I want to go over there and talk to her. But wait for the other side to come in, the contradiction. And once those two entities come in, recognize the two. Recognize them for what they are. Label them if you must. But once you do that, say, excuse me, I'll be right back, and go over there and do your step one. Say, excuse me, introduce yourself. Step two, get her name and let her know the reason why I came over here is because I want to take you on a date. And step three, call me, in which she says, I don't take guys' numbers. You tell her what to do by saying, call me. So guys, this is the first class of 6 classes on a different, we've got to rewire the way you're thinking. So this is all about rewiring, guys. I appreciate you guys sitting in and listening to this ism. This is one of 6, and we're going to put this as its own playlist and everything, and keep soaking it up. Let me know what you think in the comments. Matter of fact, and while you take your notes, this is not necessarily a community thing, but be proud of yourself. I'm proud of you. And just let everybody know, what did it feel like the first time after you did this test? When you saw a woman, you recognized the two contradiction thoughts. You labeled them, got them out the way, and still did the 1, 2, 3. Let us know in the comments what it was and how it was for you, because this is what this class is all about, okay? So guys, this is part 1 of 6, guys. We need to continue this game. I appreciate you very much, gentlemen. And again, we will start pushing this new agenda to rewire you in the next year, in the up and coming year. Thank you.